If you're completely lost on how to start budgeting or tracking your expenses, then you've come to the right place. In this video, I will be sharing a step-by-step tutorial on how to start tracking your finances using Google Sheets for completely free. If you're new here, my name is Amanda and I love talking about all things personal finance. I started my own journey about 5 years ago and I've been able to save over 100K after I started tracking my expenses. If you're interested in learning more about my own personal journey, feel free to check out the video in the description down below. Alright, so let's get started on this tutorial. First things first, you'll want to get started by making a copy of the free Google Sheet template that I have linked down below. Once you click on the link, you'll be redirected to this page where you can make a copy of the template. Once you've created a copy of the template, you can begin by writing down all of your account names and the institutions that they're with. So for example, if you have a checking account, savings account, a Roth IRA, 401k, you'll want to write all those down, including any credit cards that you have as well. Once you have all of your accounts and institutions filled out, you'll want to categorize each account as a spend, save, or an invest account. Usually any money that comes out of the account that you pay with is a spend account. So for example, a checking account would be a spend account, a credit card would be a spend account, and usually checking and credit cards are spend accounts here. And savings are obviously save accounts, and any investment accounts, you'll want to label that as invest. Now you've categorized all your accounts, you can also write any notes regarding each account. For example, if you closed it recently or you want to remind yourself to do something. But now that you filled out the accounts tab, we'll want to go ahead and actually sort the category from A to Z. So you'll want to click on the drop down here and click on sort sheet A to Z, and that will automatically group each category into invest, save, and spend. Now we can move on to the expenses tab here, and we can actually go ahead and click on the cell below payment method and add data validation using information from the accounts tab. You want to click on the data menu, data validation, add rule. Under drop down, you'll actually want to select from a range instead. You'll want to click on this icon to select a data range, head back to the accounts tab, and select all the account names only, and then hit OK. Once you have that, if you go back to expenses tab, it'll automatically create a drop down of all the accounts that you have. But you'll notice that it's also including your brokerage and savings account, so you don't want to include that. So let's head back to the accounts tab and modify it so that it's only selecting the spend accounts. Instead of from A2, you'll want to start from A6 instead. If you go back to the expenses tab, you'll now only see the spend accounts. And if you click on advanced options, we can actually change this to an arrow instead. So that might look a bit better. And there you go. You have a drop down menu where you can select the payment method. You'll also notice that it's only applied to this one cell here. So to make it apply to the rest of the column, you want to click back into the rule, and after E2, you can do a colon E, and that will apply to the entire column. The next thing you'll want to do is begin writing down all of the expenses that you have under the transaction, date, category, and amount columns with the corresponding payment methods. A nice trick here is to just go down the drop down here and open up every account and list down all the transactions from each account from this month. You can definitely go backdate it, but for now, let's just stick to this month to keep it simple. Once you've finished listing out all of your expenses and categorizing each expense, you'll want to insert a new column to the right of the category column and paste all the existing values into this new column. Once you've done that, you can keep this column selected, click on the data menu, data cleanup, and remove the duplicates in this column. That way you're left with only the unique values in this column. Go ahead and select that and copy and paste that underneath the expenses section in the budget tab. Then you can head back to the expenses tab here and delete the column that you just created. Once you've done that, we can actually add data validation to the category column as well. So go ahead and click on a cell underneath the category column and go to data, data validation, add rule, and select from a range. And the range will be what you've pasted into the budget tab. And hit OK. Similar to the other data validation, we can change it into an arrow style. And don't forget to add it to the rest of the column. So put a colon C for it to apply to the rest of the column. And there you go. Your expenses tab is all set up with the category validation and payment method validation. So going forward, you can just select from the drop down for the category for each expense and the payment method for each expense as well. Now we can move on to the budget tab. And in this tab, it's sort of where everything comes to life. At the top here, you'll want to enter your paycheck or your income, your saving contributions, and your investment contributions as well. So in the top section here is sort of where you pay yourself first, and then afterwards is where the expenses are deducted at the bottom. And at the very end, you can see if you made a net savings or a net loss, as well as your savings rate. Let's go ahead and add some income at the top here. So let's say the first paycheck is $5,000. The second paycheck of the month is also $5,000. And I'm automatically putting away about $500 per month to my vacation sinking fund and $500 away to my emergency fund. I'm also contributing to my Roth IRA, let's say $500 as well, and $500 to my taxable account. As you can see, it'll automatically add the total monthly income, the monthly savings, and investments, and show you your net monthly income after your savings. If you ever need to add another row, you can certainly do that by inserting a row below and adding another section here like side hustle. Just remember to edit the formula columns to include the new row. So in this case, you'll also want to add C6, and then you can just copy this formula and paste it across. You may also need to edit the formula here since it's currently not totaling the sum. So you can just take the formula here, copy it, and paste, and that will automatically sum the new row for you. You'll want to do the same for the other columns as well. Just copy and paste the formulas and you should be good to go. Just double check, make sure that it includes all the rows and columns that you've added. Okay, so once you've set up all of your income, saving, and investment categories, you'll notice that this section is really the only place you'll be inputting data in, and the expenses section is already automatically populated for you using these formulas here. Basically, what it's doing is it's looking up the expense name and the date of the expense and adding all of the expenses under that category and under that month in this column. For example, if I have an expense in July, let's say July 1st, and let's just copy the same expense at the top here and paste it. If I go back to my budget tracker, you'll notice that the expense, because I set the date in July, it's now in the July column instead of the June column. So it's important to make sure you enter the expenses in the correct month. It doesn't have to be the exact day, but as long as it's within the month, it'll automatically add the expense to the corresponding column. And there you have it. You now have a budget and expense tracker all set up for you. The main purpose behind the budget tab here is to give you a better understanding of how much you've spent and possibly cut back on unnecessary spending in certain categories. So, for example, if you're noticing that you're spending way too much on dining out, you can be more conscious of your spending for that month going forward. It's also a great way to quickly see if you are spending below your means, indicated by the net savings and net loss here. So if you're spending over your means, it'll be highlighted in red and indicating that you've maybe overspent for the month. I've also included this little bonus tab here called monthly balance. And in this tab, you'll want to enter in your end of balance for each account at the end of every month to help track your net worth. I've already added formulas here to automatically pull from the accounts tab, but you can totally change this if you want. I just think it's super helpful to keep track of your monthly progression and look back on how far you've come along. And here is an example of what the monthly balance sheet would look like from month to month. So you can see the balances are changing over time, and you can see the percentage change here and the amount change, and basically watch your money grow. And there you have it. You now have a financial tracker to help keep track of your expenses and your monthly balances. You can certainly customize this spreadsheet to any way that you like. I just try to make it as simple as possible. You might not like the colors, but feel free to change them if you like. You can even add graphs or pie charts to help you visualize your data. So, for example, if you want to visualize your expenses, you can highlight the expense values here. And for example, if you want to see how much you spent as a breakdown in June, you can also hold your control key or your command key and highlight that. So now you're highlighting two columns. And then you can hit the insert menu and insert a chart. And there, you can change the chart to a pie chart. And now you can see a visualized breakdown of your expenses by category. To give a quick recap, you'll want to use the Accounts tab to add any new accounts, and this tab automatically connects to the Expenses tab for the payment method. And it also currently connects to the monthly balance at the top here. You'll want to use the Expenses tab monthly to enter in your transactions for the month. Make sure to enter the correct month and category to ensure that it appears on the Budget tab here automatically. And obviously, you'll want to use the Budget tab to keep track of your income and your spending. Lastly, the monthly balance to keep track of your overall net worth. I know where you're thinking. This may seem all really tedious to enter your expenses at the beginning, but trust me, it's helped me so much with becoming more aware of my spending. Just having to add every transaction manually to the sheet and seeing the totals add up on the budget page was definitely a wake-up call for me to stop spending recklessly and start living below my means. I personally don't like setting a specific budgeted amount for each category since I think it's a bit too restrictive, but if you prefer to set a budget amount for every category each month, I've included a separate tab that's currently hidden on the spreadsheet. If you click on the menu at the bottom left, you can unhide it, and on that sheet you can totally set your budget amount if you need to. You can certainly use other apps to help aggregate your expenses or buy another template with fancy graphs and things like that, but I think it's always the best to keep things simple at the beginning, especially if you're just getting started. You definitely want to lay the foundation to understanding your finances a bit better before you dive into automating things. If you follow along on this tutorial and you created your own finance tracker, what was the most shocking thing you've discovered after aggregating all your data? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm also open to feedback on this specific template, and if you'd like to see something added, please let me know and I will definitely make the adjustments. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. I will see you in the next one.